No one expected that on an ordinary night in the middle of military service, Jungkook, a global icon with a golden voice and extraordinary charisma, would suddenly offer an apology in front of his peers. Not at a concert, nor during an official broadcast, but in the silence of a military barrack, where everyone had learned to stay quiet and suppress emotions. Jungkook's words instead exploded a major question. What really happened among BTS members during their national duty? The apology wasn't just small talk. No cameras, no fans, only fellow soldiers and one figure visibly holding back anger, Jimin. Jimin's sudden outburst, even leaving the evening gathering area without a word, made the situation even hotter and more confusing. In a structure that heavily relies on calm and solidarity, an emotional rift like this is not only rare, it's truly shocking. The incident began during a nightly reflection session held toward the end of April, an informal military tradition allowing soldiers to share. Jungkook, with a heavy voice and eyes full of pressure, stepped forward and opened up. "I want to apologize for all the things I couldn't say earlier." Without further explanation, he simply bowed deeply, conveying something far deeper than mere words. Immediately, the atmosphere changed drastically. Jimin, who had been sitting tensely from the start, appeared to clench his jaw. He stood, glared at Jungkook, and walked away. Some comrades looked shocked. Even the usually composed trainer didn't expect such a swift reaction. What was initially a warm evening turned cold and intense. Army, who heard about this from military personnel leaks shortly after, reacted with mixed emotions on social media. The hashtags #WhatHappenedJKJM and #StayStrongJungkook trended within hours. Many assumed it was just a simple misunderstanding, but internal sources stated that the tension between Jungkook and Jimin had been brewing long before, even since their early days in the barracks. But what exactly caused the sudden apology? According to unofficial reports circulating within the military, the conflict between the two wasn't due to major issues like betrayal or misconduct, but rather an accumulation of unspoken emotional tension. Jungkook, known to be more introverted and prone to keeping things to himself, was believed to have bottled up many things he should have voiced from the start. Some claimed that Jungkook felt guilty because at the beginning of his service, he had avoided social responsibilities among his peers, including Jimin. As the youngest member who had always been cherished and protected, he apparently carried immense internal pressure. A source who wished to remain anonymous said, he, Jungkook, bore the burden of staying perfect, even in a place like this. He always wanted to be strong, but in doing so, he shut himself off from those who most wanted to help him, including Jimin. Jimin, on the other hand, is someone very expressive and who highly values openness among comrades. In the harsh military system, he became a safe space for many. But Jungkook's silence was perceived as a lack of trust. "I just wanted him to talk. I wanted him to be honest, even if it hurt," said Jimin in a private conversation that was leaked to internal media. This tension had apparently lasted for a long time, but never truly exploded until that night. Jungkook's apology was meant as reconciliation, but ironically came at a time when the wounds were already too deep. Interestingly, a day after the incident, Jungkook was known to have sent a personal letter to Jimin. The letter wasn't read publicly, but its emotional content made some of their closest friends shed tears. In the letter, Jungkook wrote, "I failed to be the friend I should have been, not because I didn't care, but because I was afraid of letting you down. But that night, when you walked away, I realized I had disappointed you more than I ever feared." It didn't take long before Jimin and Jungkook were seen talking again, this time outside the barracks, near the night training path. One of their comrades said, "They didn't talk long. But when Jimin touched Jungkook's shoulder and Jungkook cried on it, we all knew that was more than enough." For ARMY, this wasn't just emotional drama between two BTS members. This was a real depiction that even the strongest can be fragile inside. That friendship, no matter how heavy the trials, can still be found again even in the harshest of fields. Now, With only a few weeks left before they complete their military service, many fans are starting to place new hopes. Will this incident strengthen their bond or leave a deep scar? What's certain is that night became a marker that behind the dazzling stage and global spotlight, Jungkook and Jimin are still just human. They fall, they get hurt, but they also learn to rise and heal. Together, in a follow-up letter written by Jungkook and kept in his private journal, he mentioned a sentence that is now the most widely shared quote among ARMY worldwide. "If I had to start from zero again, I'd begin by listening to Jimin, not by silencing myself." Is this the end of their conflict? Or the beginning of a new, more honest and mature friendship? Time will tell. But that night, an apology met with silence. Anger turned into an embrace, etched a new chapter in BTS history. A chapter not written in song lyrics, but engraved in the heart of every fan who believes that even stars can heal one another. The incident reported between BTS's Jungkook and Jimin during their military service seems to have become new ground for the public to once again ask, what's fact and what's fiction? Jungkook's sudden apology followed by Jimin's emotional reaction does sound touching, dramatic, even inspiring. But behind this viral story, one fundamental question arises that cannot be ignored. Did this really happen, or was it crafted as part of a curated narrative for public consumption? It must be emphasized that the information spreading about this incident does not come from any official statements, neither from Big Hit Music, the South Korean military authorities, nor from Jungkook and Jimin themselves. The entire narrative currently circulating widely stems from TikTok video clips, Twitter user speculations, fan account posts on YouTube, and anonymous sources claiming to be their military peers. On this basis, the public, especially ARMY, should not readily accept the narrative without scrutiny. So we must ask, are we caught in a wave of collective emotion triggered by algorithms and virality? Let's reflect for a moment. How could an internal military incident, which is strictly guarded and confidential, leak in such detail into the public space without any official documentation? Could this just be a fictional narrative crafted to create a dramatic impression, reinforce fan loyalty, or even maintain their popularity during the military service hiatus? Moreover, we must also question the motive behind spreading this story. Why did this narrative surface now? Why not earlier? Why near the end of their service? Is it purely coincidence or part of a broader communication strategy, perhaps designed by management or media to rekindle public emotion and sympathy for these two figures? The story of Jungkook crying, Jimin storming off, a personal letter leaked to the public. It all sounds cinematic. The narrative even seems to follow the perfect dramatic arc, conflict, climax, and emotional resolution. Viewed through the lens of a content creator or creative director, this is an ideal script to shake up social media. So again, we must ask, is this a real story or a carefully produced script designed to deliver maximum emotional impact? As readers and media consumers, we must not lose our critical thinking. Virality is not validation. Many pieces of content are packaged very convincingly, but are actually based on wild interpretations, personal assumptions, and excessive dramatization. We must be aware that social media algorithms on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube are not designed to deliver truth, but to maximize engagement and watch time. So, how should we respond to such narratives? Check the sources. Are they from official statements? Do the reporting media have reputable journalism standards, or are they just unverified fandom accounts? Be wary of single-sided narratives. If a story is only told from one perspective with no official clarification or response, it's likely incomplete or even untrue. Reflect on the motive behind the spread. Was the news meant for information or for virality, sensation, and opinion shaping? Don't get carried away by emotion. Are we crying because the story is truly touching, or because we were shaped to cry by a narrative designed that way? In this context, ARMY's role as a global fan community becomes crucial. We're not only here to support the artists, but also to safeguard the integrity of information circulating about them. Let's not allow love and loyalty to make us vulnerable to narrative manipulation that may not be true. We must also consider the psychological and social impact of believing in or spreading unverifiable stories. If this story turns out to be false, aren't we indirectly creating new pressure on BTS members, especially Jungkook and Jimin? Have we been responsible enough in treating this story as mature subjects in a digital information ecosystem? Now we return to you, the readers and loyal BTS followers. Do you truly believe that this emotional event happened as reported? Could we be enjoying a fiction packaged as reality? If this is a hoax, who stands to gain the most from it? And who stands to lose the most? And if it's real, how can we, as fans, ensure we provide a healthy space for their privacy and emotional healing, rather than deepening the wounds? These questions are not meant to challenge your belief.